More than ever, Americans are expanding into global markets, whether it is an individual trying to buy a rug while on vacation or a business seeking to form a joint venture in a new market. The commonality for all those who travel abroad is that some form of negotiation will be prevalent. Today I will examine how cultural differences play a role in the outcomes of negotiation using Western culture as a basis for comparison. Negotiation is to help you appreciate how culture can affect negotiation. Some elements of negotiation based on Western theory need to be explained. One element is direct confrontation. When the majority of Westerners think of negotiation, they think of its direct confrontation. Other elements include the types of negotiation, either transactional with buyers and sellers or dispute resolutions. These types of negotiations can have two possible agreement outcomes, distributive and integrative, or stalemate. In addition, we will explain how power, information, and persuasion are used in different forms of negotiation. Ultimately, when a negotiator has information concerning the other's relative power, they can make tactical decisions regarding when to walk away, when to seek more concessions, or when to accept an offer. We will show how cultures differ when it comes to the basis of power in negotiation, information sharing, and the degree to which information is seen as significant to negotiation. Negotiation involves direct confrontation, either face-to-face or electronic, of principals and or their agent. Face-to-face negotiations foster rapport and offer fewer opportunities for misunderstanding when body language, facial expressions, and cultural attitudes are foreign to the other party. If both parties are already familiar with each other or if tensions are already high, then negotiating by phone or email will be the best choice. In many cultures, negotiations are held through indirect methods. With indirect methods, third parties can be agents who represent one side or the other. Third parties can also become a neutral who tries to mediate an agreement between both sides. Finally, third parties also have been known to act as go-betweens, where they facilitate information exchanges between the parties. The types of information The types of negotiation, which would be transactional and dispute resolutions. The negotiation may be divided into two types: transactional resolutions with buyers and sellers, or dispute resolutions. Both types of negotiations dance around the various goals of each party, which seems to be mismatched or inconsolable. In spite of the fact that goals are estimated to be incompatible, the negotiators involved in the transaction attempt to figure out if they can get a better deal with the current negotiating, or if they should look to reach another deal elsewhere with alternate buyers or sellers. Dispute resolution, which is sometimes called conflict resolution, suggests that there is already an interference with goal achievement. The purpose of these negotiations is to figure out what can be done about this interference. A dispute, another term for conflict, is a rejected claim that shows the incompatibility of goals. A major difference between transactional and dispute resolution is the degree to which negotiators bring emotion to the table. Transactional negotiators use either positive emotions and or emotional irrationality to influence outcomes. However, when conflict is the primary reason, negative emotions precede the negotiation and will occur in between all cultures. Forms of negotiation: distributive and integrative. The result of transactional or conflict resolution negotiation may be a purely distributive agreement or an integrative agreement or an impasse. Distributive agreements are the result of distributive negotiation situation where neighbors and negotiators divide a fixed set of resources, and the negotiation usually turns into a competitive rivalry. This splitting up of the resources can equal but be unequal as well. Distributive bargaining can be beneficial when the other party is insignificant and the negotiator wants to maximize the value of a single deal. Integrative agreements are the result of integrative negotiation situations which involve expanding the PIC or bringing new issues to the negotiation in order to enhance a set of resources. By expanding the resources, negotiators can create integrative situations because most negotiation presents opportunities to expand a set of resources by bringing additional issues into the bargaining mix or by dividing a lone issue into several parts. Few negotiators are strictly win-lose situations. In this type of bargaining, the parties concentrate on what they have in common rather than their discrepancies. Information and ideas are exchanged more openly, and the parties focus more on the issues and interests rather than their positions. It becomes possible to figure out how each party values the issues in the negotiation. When an issue is very important to one party but not valued highly by the other party, there is possibly a trade-off on that particular issue. There is also the possibility of discovering issues that are valuable and beneficial to both parties, thereby increasing the chances for mutual gain. Most negotiators employ distributive bargaining methods because they do not realize there is potential for integrative negotiation. The integrative potential is squandered by negotiator judgment error in which negotiators believe all negotiations entail a fixed pie where the goal is to get as much pie as possible, creating a win-lose exchange. These fixed sum errors lead to a distributive negotiation style where negotiators have faith in the mythical fixed pie belief and do not consider the possibility of integrative agreements. Instead, they assume everyone will prioritize the issues equally, forcing negotiators to compete on each issue for the maximum price. In this case, the parties fight for the limited resources without thinking about how they can mutually profit. Furthermore, because they do not see the potential for integration, they even suppress attempts for mutually beneficial settlements and trade-offs. Implementing integrative techniques, however, they can be very favorable to both parties. When negotiators gather information about the other side's priorities, they increase the chance of making higher profits. All it takes for the joint profits to improve is for one side to share information. Bringing new issues to the bargaining table helps prevent the negotiation from reaching a stalemate and also helps to ensure that all the resources are utilized and nothing is left on the table. Power is the ability to make the other party concede. The party with the best alternative to be a negotiated agreement is the more powerful. In transactional bargaining, the degree to which one party is economically relying on the other results in power based on economics. When a negotiator knows their own BATNA and the BATNA of the other party, they can effectively decide what to do next in the negotiation. They can decide when it is appropriate to leave the negotiation without agreeing, when to demand more from their opponent, and when to agree on the terms of the negotiation. Parties with a more appealing BATNA can set higher goals for themselves, demand more from their adversary, and thus have more power in the negotiation. The negotiator with a desirable BATNA should communicate this to their opponent in order to take advantage of the benefits of having the better alternative. There are two types of information that are important in negotiation: information about the other party's power and information about the interests or the motive of their positions. Information about power and interests are essential to both types of negotiation because interests must be known to construct integrative negotiation, and integrative negotiation always contains distributive bargaining. Gathering information is tricky because power is psychological representation of one's during a negotiation. Besides, all perceptions tend to be biased. A negotiator might think that they have more power, might be influenced by the persuasiveness of the other side's argument. Sometimes negotiators are even influenced by the role, example, the buyer versus seller, or other contextual variables. Perceptions of power may be influenced by factors such as persuasion, integration, substantiation, and appeals to sympathy. Resource creation, along with the negotiator's ability to identify trade-offs and mutually beneficial options, are at the heart of integrative negotiation. In order to recognize the possibility of an integrative agreement, negotiators must know their own as well as their opponent's interests and priorities. Information about priorities leads to an understanding of what is important and what is not. Information about interest reveals the importance of an issue, the elimination of judgment errors, and the promotion of communication help to reveal these interests and needs. When unlike interests are revealed, the parties can negotiate and exchange base each party's priority issue. When common interests are revealed, both parties benefit. In order to obtain information, parties can share information with each other about preferences, priorities, and interests, or they can use the trial and error approach where multiple proposals are offered throughout the negotiations in order to slowly discover the relevant information to facilitate an integrative agreement. Cultures are not the same in regards to information sharing. Negotiators from separate cultures differ as to what information they deem important, and they also differ in the processes and methods used to share information. Some cultures use a direct approach when sharing information about interest priorities, while other cultures use an indirect approach, and some do not share information at all.